Hello, today's poem we're considering is A Meeting by Wendell Berry. Before we start, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, it would be greatly appreciated if you would. Thank you so much. I have the poem here, so let's start. In a dream, I meet my dead friend. He has, I know, gone long and far, and yet he is the same, for the dead are changeless. They grow no older. It is I who have changed, grown strange to what I was. Yet I, the changed one, ask, "How you been?" He grins and looks at me. I've been eating peaches off some mighty fine trees. A deceptively short poem, packed with many themes to explore. So let's start to unpack. In the dream, the speaker, presumably the poet, recounts a meeting with a friend who died many years before. The opening throws us by its blunt matter-of-factness. I meet my dead friend. Written in the present tense makes the encounter immediate, like we are there with him. We are told his friend died a long time ago. He says, "I know, gone long and far," and yet he is the same. In the speaker's mind, his dead friend is changeless, and as the speaker remembered him because the dead grow no older. In contrast, age has altered the speaker, and meeting the friend makes him realise how much he has changed. The poem's mood is relaxed. The speaker is unfazed by this apparition and asks the stock question we ask anyone we haven't seen for ages. How you been? He speaks to his dead friend as if resuming their friendship. And his friend's response are some of the most memorable lines in poetry. He grins and looks at me. I've been eating peaches of some mighty fine trees. This is an absolute curveball of a reply. We are surprised. Instead of receiving a profound reply about the hereafter, his friend grins and describes a very simple pleasure: eating peaches. The grin representing openness, lack of sophistication, and happiness. The use of the non-standard grammar of "I been eating," the subject matter, tasty peaches, and mighty fine trees, all suggest this is a child's response and a child's happiness. It suggests this is a childhood friend, a child that died. We find out nothing about the existence of a God or heaven because this is a child's reply. After all, the dead are changeless, and we hear what brings the child happiness and fulfillment. However, we receive a life lesson and insight on the human condition. The child's message is profound and hits us later as we ponder the poem's meaning. We can interpret the poem on several levels, as it touches upon memory, belonging, how we grow older and become strangers to what we once were. Grown strange to what I was, yet I, the changed one. Meeting the dead friend reminds the poet of his childhood and what he has forgotten and lost in growing up. The dead friend reminds him of childhood innocence and pleasure. Metaphorically, symbolically, he is the dead friend, the dead child in him. The child reminds him of the simple pleasures we forget as we grow old and chase mostly superficial things in our pursuit of happiness. Material goods, more money. In contrast, the sensual taste of peaches and lovely fine trees what nature provides for free brings the most joy to the child. There's something sensual about the peach eating. It represents the simple pleasures of life. The speaker had lost contact with his inner child. In literature, dreams can represent a troubled mind or warn of dangers. They reflect what preoccupies our daily lives and bring dormant thoughts, feelings, and concerns to the surface. The dream helps the speaker reconnect with his inner child, reassess his priorities, and remember the simple pleasures life can bring. We certainly can identify with the poem's themes. The poem reminds us of people we've lost at stages of our lives, those close to us, or when we learn from a third party of someone we knew at school who has since died. These provide stark reminders of our mortality. The poem's strength is its lack of sentimentality. It isn't crass or mawkish. Instead, it surprises us with its playfulness, pleasure, and sensuality. Also, we recognise the surprise in how a friend's face, voice, and mannerisms can be summoned into our consciousness after many years. The poem is conversational. The use of simple vocabulary makes its important message clear and memorable. The simple words chosen are fitting for the subject of childhood. The use of enjambment, run-on lines, makes the tone conversational. The speaker is speaking directly to us and sharing an important message. The poem is also a conversation with the poet's inner child. An extremely interesting poem by an extremely interesting poet. Born 1934, Wendell Berry lives in Port Royal, Kentucky, near his birthplace, where he has maintained a farm for over 40 years. Mistrustful of technology, he holds deep reverence for the land and is a staunch defender of agrarian values. He is the author of over 50 books of poetry, fiction, and essays. His poetry celebrates the holiness of life and everyday miracles often taken for granted. He taught for many years at the University of Kentucky, but eventually resigned in favour of full-time farming. He uses horses to work his land and employs organic methods of fertilisation and pest control. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting and useful. If you did, please hit the like button below. Also, check out our other videos on writing and textual analysis. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, it would be greatly appreciated if you would. Thank you so much. Until next time, from Carol and me, write well.